Hello and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Iris van Nespen. Iris specializes in coaching business women reclaim their sparkle. Her passion is giving women the courage to rediscover themselves and to drop the identity of being the savior for everyone else besides themselves. She is no stranger to all the things that can wear a woman down. There was a time in her life when she was feeling joyless. Life, work, and children had left her feeling numb, and she slowly forgot who she was. It took a lot of personal growth for her to reconnect to her true essence. I am excited to welcome Iris to the stage and listen to her journey and how she overcame all those thoughts of disconnect. Welcome, Iris. How are you?
Fine. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, beautiful people. I'm
Yeah.
really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to hang out with me and share some of your journey and some of your inspirational um, learnings over the past few years, for sure. We're like curly hair girls
Yeah,
today.
I was just going to say that as well. Letting our hair down.
Yes, I love it. Where are you
That's one of
calling
my.
in from? Where are you calling in from, by the way?
I'm in the center of France. I'm in the center of France, and I just wanted to say that's one of the things that changed for me as well. Is since I claimed myself back, I'm letting my hair down again because I'd been walking around like this for years, like because of my job and then because of time and because of yeah. So I wasn't embracing my hair anymore, which is not that important, but it's like a sign. When I started working with my hair down, it was like I'm getting back there.
Yes, I love that. Also,
Mhm.
I think even just kids in general, when you have little kids, you kind of just want to just pull your hair up. It's like one less thing that you don't want to have to
Mhm.
worry about. I
Yeah,
totally get
and
that.
mine are they have hair that's much worse than mine, so I spend hours sometimes. But we try to manage.
They have curlier hair than you have?
Well, my husband is black, so the combination between this and this and his hair, but like, and they're all three of them have different hair, so all three of them have yeah. Well, but it's fun and it's not so fun at the same time. Depends on the days.
Too funny. Wow, that's cool. That's very cool. I always admire individuals that have like that afro kind of look because I
Mhm.
sometimes wish my hair was just a little bit bigger, just like a little bit bigger. But listen, I'm super excited to have you here. I'd like to just kind of start out by giving you the floor. I would love to ask, what's one of the greatest challenges that you have overcome in your life, and what did you learn from that challenge?
Yeah, that's I've had several challenges, but I've never seen myself as overcoming big challenges. Whereas if I look back, they weren't that small. So my life did start with a challenge where my parents had a horrible divorce, but really horrific, and where I had to go and stay at my dad's for half of every holiday, but like a month during the summer, and then I couldn't see my mom. So that was my first big challenge that actually I up until recently I've always pushed it aside as like it happened, but I'm stronger because of it. But now with this journey I'm undertaking, I actually notice that it has had much more impact on me as a person than I've ever really allowed myself to admit, because like I don't know why, but I've never seen myself as a victim of everything that happened, but it has actually, yeah, it has influenced me on how I behave, how I do stuff. And now I'm actually seeing that I'm working on it, because there are things that I don't like about myself, and I'm like, where does that come from? Because, for example, me and authority, I've always challenged authority, because my mom raised me to never take something somebody says like for granted, and just always look and be critical about it. And so I've always done that. But then when people start to bully, so start to become over, I become small. And I've noticed that about myself over the years, but never really stopped. And that's the thing, like I learned now, it's to stop, listen, see what happens. Why do I feel this? I'd never really done that, so it would happen again and again. And now I know it's because like of my father, who was like would like go for the iris, and then I would shrink down. And so I feel like, oh, that's why I do this. So now, whenever I feel it coming up, because when you start listening to yourself, you feel this feeling of like shrinking and contraction coming up, and like, not gonna happen again. And then it's nice to feel the change when you breathe and you say, okay, I'm here. Me, the real Iris, doesn't shrink down for bullying. And then you can take action. But it took me 43 years to really realize, yeah. So I would have bosses that were authoritarian, but I could stand up to, and they would like it. But then the moment it would go just that little step over, I would shrink down. And I'm a doctor, so in medicine it's very how you say that, hierarchical, like
Yeah,
bosses and stuff. So I would stand up to my bosses up to a certain point, and then at the end you were so tired by standing up that I felt myself shrinking. And I think that's where my real shrinkage started, is by being confronted by that too much.
definitely 100. When did you, or actually why did you end up opening up a book or finding a mentor or coach or watching a video on,
This
power? Where did that come from? How did that happen?
um it was actually like I'd been feeling like I've always been very, I had a lot of vitality, and like I said, I'd always been standing up for the smaller ones, or like I'd always try to not shrink, and I felt myself becoming numb. I would say the last 5, 6, 7 years, I became number and number and number, and sometimes it felt like my life was happening around me, and I wasn't really being part of it. Or I would be with my kids and I would play with them, but my head would be somewhere else. So it doesn't feel fulfilling when you do stuff without really being there. And it started to really get me down. I started to really ask myself, where am I? What is happening? And then with my job, which I wasn't doing out of pleasure anymore, because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do with my job. So in the end, you just go with the flow, and I would come home completely empty. Um, I started looking for a way out, but I didn't know what it was, because, like, being a doctor, you earn a nice. It's not like in the States. Europe is not like the States, but you earn a nice amount of money, and I didn't know how I would be able to do this, or I didn't have the guts yet to change, and I didn't know what, because I've always wanted to help people, or I always wanted to get people, like, yeah, well, from sick to being healthy. Um, and then one um, la- Christmas, I was Christmas shopping for other people, of course, and I went into a bookshop to buy Christmas gifts for other people, and I saw the book Untamed. I don't know if you know it, by Glennon Doyle. And it's called Untamed. Stop Stop Pleasing, Start Living. And I took it and I was like, oh my God, this is my diagnosis. And I took it and I bought it for myself, which was like I hadn't bought a book for myself for a long time, because the other thing I did was stop reading, because whenever I read, I would get so into it that I was scared I would not be there for other people. I wouldn't be there for my family anymore. And like reading is one of the things I really, really love. And I stopped doing it because I don't know, no time, not being enough present. Like it's all these reasons that are no reason, because of course I can put the book down and make dinner, or like, but I started to close down all these things that I loved. So I read the book and I was like, oh my God, now I know what happened to me, or like how I can change it, how I can get my power back. And that's when I started. And then I did the Tony Robbins challenge. And at one point he said, it was own your, no, it was new life, new you, or new year, new you, or something like that. And at one point he said, the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. And I was like, oh my God, my quality of my life for the last few years has been overwhelmed and stress. And I didn't know at that moment that actually I never seen myself as an anxious person, but I realized that actually I was living, I had a lot, that was anxiety.
Mm.
So I never put two and two, one and one together, or two and two together, to see that actually this state of overwhelm is a state of fear.
Yeah.
And so that's when I came in action. I was like, no, no, it's finished. I choose joy. And then, like, you start to open your mind and you start to look for joy, and you start to, yeah, s- live more in the moment. It's a very, like, how do you say it? Everybody's talking about living more in the moment now, but it's so true. When you start seeing the things that actually give you joy in the moment and do them, oh, everything opens.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the other day we were we were on a holiday on vacation with my children, my whole family, and we were in Milan, and there was this guy dancing in the street, like really like with music and stuff. And I took my children and said, look at him. And then we were looking, and he invited them to dance with
Mm.
him. And so they were dancing with him, and then they started inviting me, and I was like, what? What the heck? And we just danced in the middle of Milan in front of the Duomo. And I was like, well, see, if you look for joy, you can find joy
I love
there.
that.
That was so fun. Like that's like a memory that I won't forget. So we're trying to do stuff like look for it and create it. It's something you can create as well. So that's why. And then I started, yeah, reading and taking courses, and yeah, so taking the power back, taking my
Yeah.
power back, and I think everybody can do it. So that's how it all started.
I love it. I love it.